Hi, I'm Ross Jacobs, and this red-headed beauty is Six, my mare. This is the second video in a 4-part series on lunging. The first video was just talking about basic principles of why we lunge, the sort of equipment we use, the sort of equipment I don't like to use. This one is going to be about how to start a horse on a circle. I'm going to follow that up with a video on how you can use lunging to help improve a horse's focus. And then the final video will be on how you can use lunging to try and improve your horse's balance on straightness. But today is about getting a horse started on a circle. Most people don't give a hell of a lot of thought to it. In fact, a lot of people are just relieved if they can get the horse to go out on the circle. They don't care how it happened, they're just happy that it happened because their focus is on the quality of the circle going on around them. But that quality of that circle has a lot to do with how it gets started. You know, how a horse feels about being directed out on the circle, those feelings will carry through into the circle. It's a little like, you know, if you have a horse that doesn't trailer load really well, you start with lunging because you start with leading because how a horse leads directly relates to how he's going to follow you into a trailer or follow the feel of your rope into the trailer or your pressure into the trailer. So it's the same thing here. How a horse goes out on the circle, the way he feels about it, the quality, and can you direct his thought to follow your feel, is directly related and pertinent to the rest of the circle work. So I want to always start my circles with my horse having okay feelings, being focused and able to follow my feel. Now, the way most people start their horses on a circle is all about driving a horse forward. And if you haven't already looked at my video on driving versus directing, I urge you to look at that because it'll explain the advantages of directing over the problems that are related to driving a horse all the time. So just as a very quick reminder, driving is when a horse's thought and his feet are going in two different directions. So if I ask Six to go forward with me on a circle and I drive her, her focus is on the rope and she's leaving the rope with her feet, but her focus is on the twirling of the rope. That's driving. Her focus is there, her feet are going there because she's in escape mode. Directing is very different, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate right now with putting a horse on a circle. Directing is asking a horse, his feet and his thought are going the same way. And you always want the thought to precede the feet because what a horse is thinking is what they're doing or trying to do. So I want her to think out on the circle and then I want her to follow that thought, that thought is strong enough, her feet go where she's thinking. And that's directing, and it puts a lot softer feel and more comfort in a horse than if you're driving him. So I'm going to direct Six to go out on the circle. And first I'm going to ask her to think out to her left. That's all. I didn't want her to move. I didn't ask her. There was no energy in there. I just said, think. Look. Where a horse is looking with both eyes, that's most likely where they're thinking. So if I ask her, I want her to go out on her right, I'm going to ask her to look out to her right. That's where it starts. Get her to look. If she's already moving before she's looked, there's trouble. She's in an evasion. She's trying to get ahead of pressure. So once I've got her to look, just stand. I know you had to balance yourself. Now I'm going to ask her to follow my feel and go forward and come around the circle. And that's how it should look. I ask her to look. Now I'm going to ask her to move. And you'll see her shoulder yielded away from me. That's her following my feel. Now I'm going to do it again, and I want to point out some important components. I apologise, but I'm getting buzzed by flies here. Some important components that make up the quality of this approach to asking a horse to go out in a circle. You had a big night on the town, did you, Six? The first thing is that she needs to look and not move. Then she needs to move. But when she moves, she needs to step across and not just walk forward. And when that happens, you'll actually see, if you watch closely, she'll take her weight off her shoulder so she can move it across. And that's really important, because if she can't lift weight up off the shoulder, she's not free to move across and she'll just stumble over. And this sets up a horse much later when I start riding them, that they can then, on their turns, you pick up an inside rein, they lift that inside shoulder, step it to the inside. So you can do this on horses that haven't even been started on the saddle, and it will help them be better balanced in their turns and their search. I'm going to ask her to think out that way, and there she lifted her shoulder. I hope you can get this on camera. She's leaning forward, so I'm just going to set her up again. I want her there. Wait. Now I'm pushed a little towards her, and there goes the shoulder, and it lifts up. It's small and it's momentary, but it's important. And I just hope that was obvious on the camera. The other thing that I want to point out about the importance is that I go the direction she goes, or I want her to go. As I've said many times, training is something I do with a horse. So if I want Six to go out to my left, I go to my left. If I want her to go to my right, I go to my right. So to demonstrate that, I want her to think out there. Now I go there. That'll do. I want her to think out there. I go there. And that's important. A lot of people, they want their horse to think out over there, and they go over here. And that's a mistake, because I'm going one way while my horse is going another way. This is supposed to be a partnership, and I'm 51% partner, she's 49, but it's still something we do together. So I make sure that I go and she goes. And sometimes it's just a leaning. It's not even I'm moving. It depends on where a horse's mindset is. Sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes I ask him to go out there and I have to come on, we're going. It will vary, but you take that into account. You adjust from moment to moment. So that's the essence of putting a horse out on a circle. Now the way most people do it, as I said, they drive. So they send their horse's thought one way and drive their feet another way. Oh, before I go any further, now that I've explained that when Six goes to the left, I go to the left. We do it together, we're following each other. So what happens when a horse is out on a circle and they stop and turn and face you? And you didn't want that. You want them to continue on the circle. So if I set this up so that Six makes this horrible mistake and I have to get really cranky with her, out there little one, out there, wait, wait. Just, I know you know what's coming. Thank you. Now step out. Now, my silly horse makes a mistake, turns and faces me, and I said no. A lot of people want to go out there and drive her around. But no, what I will do, even if she's heading that way, I will keep, wait. I will keep saying, no, we're going that way. I will keep following the direction with my feel and my energy and my feet the way I want her to go. Because we're going to do this together. I'm not going to drive her across if I can avoid it. If I can't avoid it, I will drive. But it's only so that the next time I ask, I can direct her. So I want to point out, and it happens a lot, horses turn in, the owner didn't want them to turn in, so they pick up their lunge whip or that, and they try to drive them from the opposite direction to make them go back the way they came. Don't do it. Follow that, keep that feel going in the same direction you intended, and the horse will get with you again. I'm going to talk a little bit about why horses turn in, but so let me know the way most people do put their horse on the lunge is they drive a horse, and that really just means they do this. Whether they use a lunging whip or they use flipping of the tail end of the rope, or they cluck, or they do something, but they go that way to send the horse that way, and they put energy over here that attracts the horse's focus but drives their feet away. And I discourage that. And it creates problems as well. You'll often see people go out ask their horse to go out on the circle. They're driving them, and what happens? The horse keeps turning to them. They keep turning and they have to keep moving away. They keep moving away because they're actually drawing the horse towards them. They're actually giving up space. The horse gets drawn towards them. They don't realize they're doing it, but that's what's happening, and then they get cranky at the horse for doing exactly as they've been asked. So I just wanted to point that out as well. I think that pretty much covers most of the essentials. The next video we're going to talk more on how to help use the circle to get a horse's focus, and it involves more than just going around in circles, but I'll talk about that at the time. Good night, Alice, wherever you are.